Welcome
Great Scott!
to the TARDIS. Time and relatively icy seats.
I'm sorry.
That's what TARDIS stands for.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Icy seats.
But she is my time-travelling ship.
This is insane.
I know.
What?
I know it's a lot to wrap your head around.
How does this work?
Well,
This is...
there is a dimension, and it is relative to this space.
That clears a lot up, thanks so much.
Don't you worry. But the point is that you'll be travelling with me through time and possibly space.
With icy seats?
Well, I don't really sit on them. I do a lot of my work standing up.
I mean, I can,
So it's more of a nod to the absence of warmth upon the seats.
Okay. Give me a sec. This is a lot.
But while we're here, while you're taking it in, I feel like we're going to talk about something rather important and possibly sad.
Oh.
It's a series called Doctor Who, and we're going to be jumping
What?
in. I know, right? And it's an episode, possibly my favourite, called Heaven Sent.
Shut up, stop talking, cease and desist, there's a good girl. Go, 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 go.
Moisturize me.
Welcome back to Never Ever Eat Pears. I am Reegan, your misdirection agent.
And
It's
I'm the
not a
fool along for
it's
the
not a
ride.
storybook. It's a podcast. And I'm joined once again by my wonderful co-host Pete. You should know that I dunked him in the deep end with that. There was no planning, and I am very, very sorry.
That's okay, I got the giggles, but it's fine.
You're all good. But yeah, Heaven Sent. We're
Heaven
finally
Sent,
here.
yeah.
You remember when we were talking about and like, oh, it's going to be such a long time until we get to one of my favourites?
We're here. Here
We're
are.
here. Yeah, and by Stephen Moffat. Let's just get into it, I guess.
Why not?
So we got the Doctor's initial monologue at the beginning of the episode prior to him arriving,
Yeah.
where he's talking about when you're born, something else is born too, and it's always kind of
Follows you your
follows
whole
you
life,
around,
yeah.
and when you're sleeping, it does not.
Yeah.
And the little shots that we get around the castle as well. There's a weird little face that's in like a little cage.
Yeah.
That we never see ever again.
never see that again.
I don't
Yeah.
know where that's meant to be in the castle, whether it's just a weird gargoyle.
Maybe. I assume it's a gargoyle of some
Yeah.
description, but very strange.
And then we see, I think we see the lever come down, and then the hand fall
Fall
into
on
the. So is it sand?
It's
Or is
kind
it
of
just
a
like
dusty
burning
floor, isn't it?
aftermath of what's going to be occurring or has already occurred there?
I don't know if the floor is just dusty and dirty and grim,
Oh, okay.
and then what happens and adds to that.
But a hand covered in blood comes down, and then you see
Yeah.
some sizzling, and
See some sizzling, hear some
sizzles
sizzling.
away. And then we hear, I think we're seeing cogs turning around during all
Yeah.
of this. And there's a central column in the middle, and a light emits, and our 12th Doctor emerges, giving some amazing cough acting, the wheezing
Yeah,
that he's
proper,
giving
like,
off. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
really like into it. Yeah,
in terms of acting, I mean, we've always talked about it, that Capaldi's up
top
there.
tier, like god level.
But
yeah.
I think this episode is a perfect kind of show reel of a lot of his levels.
It's
in terms
so
of
much
acting.
range. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
But then we get our second monologue, and I have written it.
Ooh, go for it.
I'm not. I won't be able to do it in his voice, and I'm
Go on,
I'm probably
Scottish
gonna.
accent.
No. If you think because she's dead I am weak, you understand very little. If you're any part of killing her and you're not afraid, then you understand nothing at all. So for your own sake, understand this. I'm the Doctor. I am coming to find you, and I will never, ever stop.
Genius.
It's
Pure, quiet fury.
Yeah.
Like he ain't messing around.
Because I mean, if we remember where we came from last episode, he's still. There's just the rage burning from.
It's been like
me.
2 minutes since. Yeah.
And Clara's original begging of like, don't become a warrior to
Yeah.
avenge me, but he's still in this moment, and we'll explore it a little bit later in the episode. He's still umming and ahhing about that shit.
Yeah, he's still like, I don't think I can do this.
No.
Yeah.
Right, so we get some exploring of some of the castle and the deducing of him having gone through a teleport situation.
Yeah.
When he had the bangle thingy around his arm.
Yeah, because he doesn't have that anymore, does it? Because that
No,
was
it
like the
dropped
last
off.
shot of the last
It
episode. It
hits the
fallen
ground.
off. Yeah, so he's assuming he's chatting to himself the entire time, which is adorable.
Yeah.
and
I
very,
do it a
very
lot.
helpful for us. But like,
Especially
yeah,
because the banging in the ceiling's still going on here. And I
it's
need
not.
it is.
oh,
But it's worse because it sounds heavier.
oh god,
Yeah.
they're multiplying.
They're still squirrels, but they have huge feet.
Huge, big old clown feet,
flipper
like,
feet.
bam, bam,
That
Anyway, Yeah.
horror aside. Yeah, so he's deduced that he's teleported and also that he's in the same time zone, and saying out loud that once nightfall hits, he'll be able to
figure
deduce
out where he is.
where he is by the positioning of the stars.
Because I think at this point he's still thinking that maybe whoever's teleported him here can probably hear him, can probably see him. So he is
Yeah.
just kind of showing off and shouting into the abyss.
Yeah.
And then is this the bit where we see like the writing on the wall? 'Cause
Writing on the wall.
His initial monologue,
Hmm.
I believe, is written on the wall, and we see it.
Is it?
Yeah, we see it at one point.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't realise.
Yeah, with like red lettering and stuff and like old Englishy type text. Yeah, if you pause it, you can read it, and I'm pretty sure it's his little initial monologue about the thing following you.
So was that just him needing that prompt, or was that just a
Oh
fun...
no, it's part of the,
Oh,
because he doesn't say it at any point when he's looking at that particular wall,
no.
and it's too pretty to.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's just a part of his confession dial,
Oh,
and
wow.
the creature we're gonna see.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
I
it's
had
really
no
sweet.
idea.
I'm pretty sure it's that first initial monologue.
That's
I should have
brilliant.
double checked.
So what? The one that at the very, very beginning, we're talking about when you're
born.
And okay, yeah. And he's threatening the captor about taking revenge, despite what, like we say, despite what Clara said. I think he says something to the effect of something like, "I promise Clara, but you must know I don't always follow."
Don't always keep my promises.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rule 1: the doctor lies.
How do you feel about his viewship on gardeners?
Oh God, what does he say about them?
He says that gardening is dictatorship for inadequates.
Yeah.
Which obviously then is a very correct play on, well, not play, but commentary on dictatorship as a whole, because he just says that's dictatorship through
yeah.
and through.
Yeah.
But, you know,
I mean, yeah, it kind of makes sense when you think about it that way, but I feel bad for
yeah,
gardeners.
I like to plant a thing.
You like to plant a thing, but you have literally told that thing it is only living there.
This is true. This is true. But maybe it's better than the packet in the supermarket.
It may
where
very
it
well
may
be better
expire.
in the packet in the supermarket, yeah.
It's not great, yeah.
That's why my garden is wild.
Well, that's cool.
Or I'm too lazy.
No, I mean that's a good reason enough. One day I'd love to get a small pond and have that wild.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Because I know that it's, having done a lot of pond work, that it's an absolute headache trying to create a pond that frogs will want to come to. But you're more likely to do that if it's wild and
Yeah.
stagnant water to a certain extent, and
Yeah.
lots of wild plants and things
Absolutely.
like that. And we are also seeing the screens. And I've now, before we start talking about what we're seeing, I've nicknamed the thing. You don't have to use a nickname, but I will for what the thing is.
Okay.
I just call it Old Shuffly.
I love it.
Um,
I like its name. I think its name's cool.
so we see a screen, and the screen is the like half image of the Doctor's face through the battlement slit, but from the other side of the
Yeah.
whatever, the
He does
ravine.
he does the classic like double take where he kind of like
Yeah.
shimmies his head in and then out, so he's like, "Oh, that is watching me."
I mean, that thing has binocular eyes, because that's quite a close
Yeah.
shot, and yet that is quite
They're far away.
Far away. But you,
which tracks if it's all made for his sphere.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
because initially you might be like, it's right there,
Right there, and then you're like, "Oh wait, it's miles away."
But he sees Old Shuffly.
Old Shuffly.
And from what we can see at this point, it is a kind of cloaked figure
Hooded thing.
in like kind of grey,
Off-white, dirty, crappy,
dirty
nasty
old
stuff,
robes.
yeah.
Hey, they might be high quality robes. We don't know.
They might be really high quality robes.
These might be the Marks and Spencers of robes.
Can we see the flies at this point, I think, as well?
A bit later on, because when it's shuffling and then he sees that the screen is relating to whatever movement this thing's taking and it's moving closer, some of the flies then are
coming to
heard
view
and then they're
then,
coming
yeah,
around the
yeah.
corner.
Yeah.
And the Doctor's kind of like sneaking around and seeing this thing coming around the corner. I think at this point he does say, I recognise you, or something to that point.
I think he says something along the lines of, yeah, I know what you are.
And he then kind of doubles away and runs down a corridor and gets to a door, and then we get the lovely kind of pleading with the
He's
door
like,
monologue.
Yes, yeah, he's like, oh, what does he say? If you're just a little bit nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what does he say? Like, he says, it must be really hard being a door,
Yeah, people
constantly knocking, but it's never for you.
Yeah,
and just
you
opening
get locked.
You get locked, you get used, and
Yeah.
it's never for you.
But he also says something quite interesting that I'm glad we kind of caught without forgetting. When he was very young and a little bit psychic.
Yeah. I love that. I was like, oh.
So what, is this a little bit of Time Lord lore dump, that when they very, very young, they have a small psychic ability?
Is it Time Lord or is it
Oh, yeah.
Unearthly Child? What is it? No. Oh, God. What's it called?
Oh, shit. The Timeless Child.
Timeless Child. Yeah.
Timeless Child.
Christ. Yeah. Is it Timeless Child vibe or is it Timeless
well,
vibe?
Yeah,
We'll
but
never know.
the Timeless Children stuff is still like it's the root of the Time Lords, isn't it? Because I can't remember her name, the scientist lady, but she
Yeah, I suppose she said eventually.
she uses the DNA of that for the early Time
to create
Lords.
the Time Lords, yeah.
So it's still technically
Yeah.
Time Lord stuff, and all of that was then forgotten. So what? So
Does the Timeless Child even exist anymore, or has that been completely
no,
wrapped?
well, no, because given what we've seen very, very recently,
True that, yeah, true that.
They are
God,
still
It's so confusing.
again. Like I was saying this to one of my bandmates, and I think I talked briefly to King Ben about this, but as much as most people hate the Timeless Children stuff, imagine like it'd be the same if you and I were writers and we did stuff for Doctor Who or for any show.
Yeah.
If we were both working on it together, and I didn't necessarily enjoy something that you wrote as part of the overall canon of the show, I wouldn't completely ignore it, because that's that would be completely disrespectful to you.
Yeah.
But I'd still acknowledge it as being part of the canon, because it's still your work. We're
Yeah.
still friends as
Yeah, exactly.
in this hypothetical writer's situation.
Yeah.
So
You'd
yeah.
still keep it.
And they are friends, and it makes sense to.
Yeah, to keep it
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
With that said, Russell T Davies isn't past tearing down past canon, because if we look at, well, when I say tearing down past canon, having an established thing and just being like, oh, this thing happened and now it's gone. And then what I mean by that is the Time War.
The Time War.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
with all the Time Lords and all of those are established, and then he's just like, nah, fucking dead, mate.
Dead now, gone.
Obviously important for a reboot, because that's the way you get people back in. There's like this war that's constantly being talked about and you don't see until like 4th or 5th season.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in long and short of it, I believe Timeless Child is still a thing.
Little bit psychic. I love it.
Yes. And as this thing's traipsing towards, oh no, because the door does open. And
Door does open, and it's a brick wall.
Tricksy fucking door.
It's a brick fucking wall.
And this thing's getting closer and closer and closer, and the Doctor's just terrified and says,
Yeah.
I'm actually scared of dying.
Scared of dying, yeah. 'Cause
And then-
he's trying to think, isn't he? He's like, almost similar to Mummy on the Orient Express. He's going, what makes you stop? What do I do? What do I do? Oh, shit.
But is it quite that? I felt like that was an authentic, like, these are my last words.
Yeah.
I'm that scared. 'Cause
Oh,
at
yeah,
least-
no, I think when he gets to that point, he actually does it. Yeah, no, I am actually scared of dying.
Yeah.
But initially, he is a bit like, kind of, can I get out of it? No, I can't. I'm actually scared. Yeah.
And it stops. And not only does it
completely
stop,
stops.
the little flyboys stop
Little
as well.
fly boys stop.
And he gives one of them a little
flicks it out of the air. His poor fly's gone.
just eviscerated against the wall. And I think at that point the castle starts to
Yeah,
do a
you
bit of a
hear the
shift.
cogs start going, and then the whole castle moves.
And the door slides open.
Door slides open. Doctor runs through it.
And we are in a bedroom.
Leaves Fairly Boy behind. What do you call him? Old Shuffle.
Old Shuffly.
Old Shuffly.
Yeah, Old Shuffly's been left behind, and we're into the bedroom, and the Doctor's walking around. I think he goes over to the window where there's a vase with I think
Some lilies.
Lilies,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
And he walks back, sits on the bed, and then kind of clocks the picture that's
the
that's
big
there.
fucking picture that he's
I'm
walked
so
past.
sure there's a point where he kind of looks towards that wall and
think he does.
just totally ignores whatever's
I
there.
think he does. I think that might have just been a bit of
Maybe, but also like
An
this is a
oopsie.
high stress situation. The last thing you'd expect to see is a picture of your very recently fallen
very recently
companion.
dead friend, and it's an ancient painting.
Yeah,
because
because
he gets that wonderful little eyeglass out.
Yeah,
I love it.
this is very old, possibly very very old.
Yeah.
And while he's studying it, you can hear the fly boys
Yeah.
return.
You catch the flies before he does. You're like, oh.
Because I think there's a point where one of the flies like wanders across.
Oh yeah,
Clara's
it crawls across Clara's
depiction.
face, isn't it? Yeah.
And he spins around and gives us the story of what this thing. Oh yeah, the old lady died.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking awful.
Awful.
Just imagine like the
Well, and the thing is that I mean, it's all well and good for like a Time Lord story, but that happens in like other countries and cultures.
Yeah.
To us, like you have to bury people quick.
yeah, and I imagine on like the Gallifreyan plains that
Yeah.
would have happened. It looks like quite a warm
It looks very
environment.
deserty. Yeah.
I imagine those flies came hard and quick and
Hard and fast. Yeah.
yeah, horrific.
Space flies. Like
yeah.
King Ben would hate it. Anyway.
Yeah, none of these have
None of these have
6
real
antennae.
flies.
King Ben, we love you.
Yeah. He said like when I was a kid,
Hmm.
an old lady died. Pop. And we needed to wrap her up before
Yeah.
we could bury her, and all the flies came.
Now, I'm going to make this point during the episode and now. I'm not going to ask you to think about it because I imagine it could potentially draw up something quite awful, but just imagine what your version of this thing might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I did. When I first
okay.
watched the episode, I was like,
Fair.
oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, and all the listeners back home, just take a beat to think
Take a
what
beat.
your version of this.
What would
thing-
your version of Old Shuffly be?
Yeah, I mean, if you want, put it in the comments. We're not asking you to, but
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you feel
totally.
comfortable to and to share, by all means. Yeah, so the Doctor's kind of backing away and
Picks a leaf off the lily, a petal off the lily,
drops it.
Yeah.
And then I think he's also like backing off, and he kind of squeezes his eye, and his little eye
Little eye
glass
thing
falls
drops
out.
off. Yeah.
And then he grabs a stool and yeets out the window.
Yep. Is he asking what this is as well at the same time? He's asking if this is a torture chamber.
Yeah, I think
Is this a torture
it
chamber?
is asked at some point. So let's say it happens there.
Are there any other prisoners? Is this a prison? Is this a torture chamber? A trap? Blah blah blah. He's just trying to get all the information.
Deduce
but Old
what this
Shuffly
is.
isn't saying anything.
No. And he just says, I bet you weren't expecting this, and jumps
But he didn't see this coming.
straight out the window. And then we get that beautiful cut to him bursting through the TARDIS
Bursting
door.
through the TARDIS doors, yeah. With that
Um,
wonderful orchestration, with that really fast, like,
Yeah.
string interlude. It was like, yeah, great.
The music during this episode
sorry.
in particular
Yeah.
is unreal.
Towards the end, that
Towards
whole,
all of it.
that
I've been
whole
listening
montagey
to...
bit, I was like, oh my God.
I was going to bring it up later when the scene happens, but I'll talk about it now that we're on the topic. But I think it's called The Doctor Changes. It's the music when he sees the change of clothes and
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
It's
it's
very
beautiful.
King's Speech.
Very
some
King's
of
Speech.
some of this music. I'm glad that you agree.
Sorry. not-
Um,
yeah. I love The King's Speech so much. And
Me
that music
too.
is just beautiful. It's one of my favourite films of all time.
oh, nice.
I love it.
I mean, the acting in that is
my God,
phenomenal.
don't
You see I can't remember the name of the actor, but the one who plays Barbossa in Pirates.
Jeffrey Rush, yeah.
Yeah,
Legend.
The versatility of his acting in that. In that role alone, where
Yeah.
he's quite prim and proper, and then there's that scene where he just sits down in the king's chair and is like, "Oh, a lot of royal asses."
A lot of real assholes have sat on this chair, yeah.
And yeah, it's brilliant film. Yeah, so it becomes quite clear, and I think it's said in this scene that this is kind of like the equivalent of Sherlock's Mind Palace.
Yeah.
Do you have?
I don't really think in that way. Like,
No?
I don't have a
Okay.
mind palace. Do you?
I used to have like a mind beach hut. Because
Oh,
I'm not
cute-ass.
quite on
Not
the
quite a
Doctor or Sherlock's
palace
level.
or
Like that's
TARDIS.
quite a lot to remember in terms of where things are. But I am thinking now that I'm designing Regan's TARDIS, there will be a visual thing, and I will become
Yeah.
accustomed to it more. We do with the audiobooks, and I am going to be going the way that William Hartnell did, where certain buttons and certain things do specific things.
Yeah.
And that is written in stone what those things do.
That's really cool.
So I will eventually have my own
You're gonna
TARDIS.
have your own mind TARDIS.
My
This
own
is
mind TARDIS where
cute.
things are. And I'll go there when I need like a moment to just kind of chill out and get through a situation, whatever that
Nice.
might be. But yeah, he's explaining that all of the things he did in that room were very deliberate. The dropping of the petal, the dropping of the eyeglass.
Testing the gravity.
Testing what was outside as well, throwing the stool and then breathing in the air, smelling the salt
Smelling
in the
the salt
air.
in the sea, yeah.
And then also
Doing the
listen.
splash, breaking the surface of the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then working out the distance, and the jump then is provoked by that. And he's still saying, even during all of that, that there's no guarantee of survival from that height.
He's likely to lose consciousness.
Yeah. And oh man, the depiction of consciousness being lost in that moment and the way it comes back up.
It's beautiful.
And
it's that beautiful little, the 12th Doctor's theme popping back up again.
yeah,
with
and
that
the
beautiful
powering
little
up.
bling, Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Because he's talking to Clara at this point, isn't he? While we've seen her. We've seen her back.
Possibly. I can't remember when we see her back. So I know.
I think we see her in this first one.
Oh, okay.
Because he's saying...
Oh, do we get the... Wait. Where are we on the rules? On the questions.
I don't know if we've got to the questions.
No, I think that's
Yeah,
later.
I think he's just telling her how he's doing it.
Oh, but we get the rules of torture.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, where it's like you are the most unreplaceable person in the room at that point. If they're going to kill you, die faster.
Yeah.
You control
this whole situation.
You control the room.
Yeah.
So work it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he hits the water. Crashes out.
oh, I also love the can't wait to hear what I say. I'm nothing without an audience.
Yeah. That's it.
I love that little beat. Yeah, so I do actually think when he's coming back to consciousness, because this is before the reveal of what's in the water,
Yeah.
we then get the questions.
That might be it.
This is what I've written in my notes, at least. So we get 3 questions. What is this place?
Yep.
What made the creature stop? And how are you going to win?
Win. Yeah.
And then we get... It's quite a peaceful scene until it's not.
Yeah.
Because
we're upside down, aren't we?
Yes.
As he's kind of like flailing in the water. Not flailing.
no,
He's kind
he's
of
soft sinking.
soft sinking in the water, isn't he?
Yeah.
And then the camera pans around so he's up the right way.
And it's skulls.
It's fucking skulls. Thousands of skulls.
Billions of skulls.
Yeah.
Not great.
Not fucking great.
Now,
And
No, I don't know if I-
music sting was wonderful.
yeah. I don't know if I can ask this because this... I don't know.
Go for it.
So there are some folk out there that really don't like skulls. I was going to ask you like where you kind of stood with skulls.
Okay. I have a human skull at home.
Nice.
My grandpa was a doctor.
Oh my god.
And I have like a skull that he used to teach.
That's
with.
incredible.
It's awesome. It's not on display because I worry.
That's fair. I think
I love skulls. I like human skulls. I have so many animal skulls at home.
That's
I
really
think they're
cool.
brilliant. I think they're so interesting. I've never I don't know if I'm just able to completely disassociate from the fact that this was a person.
Oh, okay.
So I've got a random person in my cupboard. Just randomly got their head in my cupboard.
That's incredible.
It's just, I think because I'm around a lot of death at work, and I do a lot of the postmortems and stuff. I work in a zoo, so I do a lot of postmortems and stuff, and we do the vets and stuff. So I think I'm very used to seeing the insides of stuff.
Oh, okay.
But also am aware that thing isn't embodied in it anymore.
Yeah.
So it's just a spare bit.
Okay. Interesting. Because I suppose I'm on the same level. A lot of my memorabilia is skull orientated. I've even got like chalices that have been carved to look like skulls and things like that.
Yeah.
I've got one friend who's petrified of skulls. Like her other half, who's big into tattoos. She's laid down the law, at least on that point, that she's not allowed to get a skull themed tattoo, which he is very upset about. Shout out to Harrison, but
Sorry, dude.
it's too late now. But I too would love to have a human skull. But I think I for the purpose of not disassociation, for me, I love the fact that I'd be holding something that would be like this once was a part of someone who had motivations and dreams and
Yeah.
a whole life.
I think I'd end up spiraling if I let myself think like that.
No, I think
I'm aware of it, and I'm very appreciative of the fact that this person gave their head to be studied
Yeah.
and used as a tool. But I think if I start getting into like, oh god,
okay.
they had a family, they had this, I'd be a bit more like, because I've said, I think on the podcast before, death is terrifying.
Yeah.
I think I'd go too mental.
Fair. Well, I won't fixate on that.
Oh, no, that's okay.
But while we're on skulls, I will say, fuck off rabbits, because you have the scariest skulls in the whole fucking animal
They
kingdom.
are terrifying.
Horrific creatures.
Absolutely terrifying skulls.
But yeah, I suppose to anyone, regardless of where you stand with skulls,
That would still
opening
be
your eyes and still
scary.
seeing that's still not great. That's,
Absolutely not. That would be horrendous.
and then just the quantity of it is almost incomprehensible.
Yeah. You can't even imagine that many people.
No.
Just
That's what it's the London formula for me. It's the thing I hate about London when you're coming into somewhere like Charing Cross and seeing that amount of movement across
Awful.
the water. Fucking hate it.
Yeah.
Can't comprehend that amount of life
Nah.
happening in such in the grand scheme of things, such a relatively small location.
yep.
Nah.
Yeah. It's too many people.
Nah, too many. Watch our show. Listen to our show. Where are you, all of you? Yeah, so the doctor climbs out of the water and gives...
Absolutely sodden, and look,
Yeah.
the look he gives the water is just fucking like that's very Malcolm Tucker of him at that point. It's like your Malcolm's leaking out, but he is fuming because at this point he still thinks it's a prison,
yeah.
torture chamber. So he's assuming
This amount of
this
people.
amount of people have been here and been murdered.
Yeah. And
Which
this...
you would.
And this is when that beautiful music score starts
Mm-hmm.
to play, and he walks into the room with the fire.
Yep.
And he discovers the change of clothes, and we do have to touch on it, and it's fine. But I don't think we could be a Doctor Who podcast without acknowledging it. That there would have been at one point a
naked Doctor,
or at
running
least
around.
in his undies, going around knocking about and doing stuff.
Yeah.
It's fine, but like we can't
Yeah.
not acknowledge that.
No. I mean, it's a possibility, but it's also a possibility that there was a spare set. Because this is designed for him.
Yes, but it's designed to like scare him and stuff. Surely he would be
Making him run around naked's going to
even
make him
more
scary.
Yeah, like
I don't know. I think yes, that's probably happened, but there's also a possibility that he had been provided alternatives.
I do like that. Even though it's quite a hurried change, he's about to leave, and then he doubles back and puts his shoes
Stands his shoes
neatly
up
together.
'Cause he was like, "Oh wait, that's how I found them. I need to
Yeah.
put them back." I
lovely.
love it. I love it.
Um,
And like, I don't know. I don't know if, as the Doctor as well, I'd be a little bit like, that's really weird.
yeah, especially because they're not just a change of clothes; they are exactly
They're
the same
exact
clothes.
same clothes.
Yeah, I think I would have a moment, especially because from what you know of me, I wear very unique clothes, much like the Doctor does.
Much like the Doctor, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like this is just a trackie and like...
Yeah, it's not just a spare Adidas jumper or something. I don't know.
These are exactly the same clothes. I think
Even with his buttons, he looks at his buttons on his jacket, doesn't he?
Is it like 3 black and 1 red?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Because I've got it's a different jacket, but I've got I think it's the first 12th Doctor's jacket, which is also the Master's jacket.
Yeah.
The black one with the red lining.
the red lining.
I'm thinking of replacing one of the cuff buttons with.
I did that with mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool.
It's beautiful.
Um,
Doesn't fit me anymore. It makes me sad.
Oh.
I grew up.
I think there is a beat where he talks about the theatre of fear and set in a mechanical maze.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole thing is just a beautiful theatre setting, performance, all of it. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous. But he then leaves that room and he finds another room that's got like a hexagonal
Yeah, it
carving.
looks almost like a pantry, doesn't it? It's got like food and bits and bobs hanging up around.
And there
then,
are
yeah.
lots of arrows pointing towards the centre of this
Yep.
cutout. There was a... I know what it ends up being, but I still struggled on first rewatch what the significance of that area was. Because nothing's ever put there.
No, something has been taken from there.
Oh, I see, and that's what he finds.
That's what he finds
in
in
the.
the bit.
I got it.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I just saw when I see a lot of arrows pointing there, it's like something should be placed there instead of something is missing from there.
I'm not too sure. I don't think I ever understood why it was taken from there. Like why he ran around with that.
Well, would you say what you think he originally took it out
I don't know.
and buried it?
I don't know.
Because
like
the earth looks like it's been freshly moved, so that does correlate.
yeah, because I just don't get. I don't understand why they would point at that
Yeah.
to then put it somewhere completely different. Because there's no need for it to have been from there.
No.
He could have just dug it up or just
Or
dug.
maybe those are because unfortunately there are little inconsistencies when it comes with this little insignificant ones. But I suppose you could argue that maybe these initial markings were drawn by the first couple of iterations of the Doctor,
Maybe.
and he's saying that something should be there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
where
it's
is it?
not
Go
there.
find it.
Go find it.
That could be it.
That's my reasoning behind
Yeah,
it
yeah,
on
yeah.
the fly.
No, I love it. That could be it.
And he then finds the outdoor little area
Yes.
with another shovel, and it's
Another
like
shovel.
Clara, clearly someone wants me to dig.
Yeah.
He sees the like we said earlier, fresh patch of earth. And I think he just
He calculates how, because he's got a screen, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, and he says at that point he reckons he's got about an hour.
About an hour. Yeah.
And he starts digging, and
Dig.
I think we get a bit of a jump scare before we get stuff about stars. Yes, we do. Initial door jump scare
Oh,
because
we get a door jump scare first, don't
Yeah,
we?
because we hear some flyage.
We hear some
and
buzz.
The Doctor runs over to the because there's a window and there's a screen on the other side of it, and he can see that Old Shuffly's
He's
nearby
right
the
there.
room.
Yeah.
And I think it stops, and he's like, "Oh, that's weird." And then he walks over to the door, and
Opens the door and it's right there. And he's
Yeah.
like, fuck me.
I did get initially jump scared.
Yeah.
Even
Like,
on a
no!
rewatch, I was like, maybe this is later. Oh no, it's now. Horrible. I weirdly on BBC iPlayer, this episode doesn't have subtitles, and the only reason why I wanted them was because there's a beat where he's using the shovel to block the door.
Yeah.
And doesn't he say something about the angle of a
The physics of a triangle.
physics
you
of a
lose.
triangle?
Yeah.
Donna, you lose.
Donna, you lose.
Well, because of what they were saying about the triangle light
Oh.
thing in our anniversary special.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking during the episode, if that's what he said, that's fun.
Physics of a triangle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because it's one of the strongest shapes. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the creature says,
Realizes
"Fuck
it's
this
you.
noise."
Just like,
and-
all right, fine.
all right, I'll go
going somewhere else.
I'll find you in an even more implausible way.
Yeah. 'Cause the doctor's then like, where the fuck is it going? Like,
Yeah.
There's literally one door. Oh, well, never mind.
No, we'll get to this. So he starts digging again, and we get a beautiful transition from like dusk to nighttime with this beautiful golden
Beautiful
sky.
light. It's wonderful.
And it's that bit where the Doctor's like, "Now, wait a minute, bruv.
This ain't right.
This shit
Yeah.
ain't right."
But then he gets interrupted.
Yeah, he does, because we hear more flies.
More flies.
And
Have we found it yet?
no, sorry,
we have found it, yeah.
We have found we get a little clink with the shovel, and he
Clink.
brushes the dirt away. And doesn't it say, "I am in room 12"?
I am in 12.
I'm in 12.
And he's like, the fuck does this mean?
And then we get some
Then we get
fly
some
boys.
fly boys, and he's
Now.
like, ooh. This made me jump more than the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair.
At least you're expecting something to probably come through the door. You weren't expecting something to probably jump out of a grave at you.
For the sake of a jump scare, yes. But how in the bloody fuck did it get there?
Theatre of fear, I don't know. That's my literal only option.
Obviously, it would have been far less scary had it just walked up a couple of flights and then jumped
Just
out.
jump down. You went doing.
Just hit the ground like a wet flannel.
Yeah,
But-
I genuinely, I assume the Theatre of Fear vibe.
Okay, fair. And we get another TARDIS
Yeah, literally, it's just literally about to touch his face.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Ugh," and then we get into the TARDIS.
Now,
fight.
I haven't written any notes on what actually is said in the TARDIS on this occasion, I don't think. But apart from there are some truths that the Doctor can't tell.
I think he's asking Clara for help, isn't he? Like, what do I do, Teach? Come on.
Yeah.
And she just keeps repeating, how are you going to win?
And isn't this where he's starting to clock on to what he's needing to say?
I think, yeah, doesn't he say it stopped for a truth?
And then, well,
But
kind
that's
of.
not enough.
Yeah, because he said, I didn't run away from Gallifrey.
Oh, God. What does he say? I didn't run away from Gallifrey because I was bored?
Yeah, I ran away because I was scared.
Yeah.
But then, isn't that the initial freeze? And I can't remember what then is enough to get it to fuck off.
Oh, God.
He says something else and it fucks off. But yeah, so he was saying in the TARDIS there are some truths that he just can't tell.
Yeah.
And the castle starts to reformulate again. And we get that nice kind of little beat where from the movement of the castle, clearly the ground underneath the castle is being jogged around, and we get two little skulls come up to the surface and then go back, and we stay with them for a while. We get to have them rest on
They float back up. And
back
then
onto the surface
they
of the-
shimmy back down.
or
Yeah.
the substrate of the ground, which is skulls also. And the Doctor,
Yeets it out of the grave and runs.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we get the Doctor now working out if he was to run from one extremity of the castle to the other, he would have 82 minutes to eat, to sleep, and to work.
Yep.
And the work is finding
room
room 12.
But nothing's helping. He's like, this whole place is just designed to fuck with me.
Yeah.
I've got no clues. I cannot find this thing.
This is where he talks about the rooms reverting back, if
their
they're left long
original
enough, to
state.
their original state.
Yeah.
You see him go back and find the flowers again intact.
The window intact,
Yeah.
the grave covered over again.
Um,
Multiple soup.
Yeah. So that's where he's getting his food from, that there's just this bowl that kept
It looks
saying-
like there's a bowl of soup that just keeps...
I wasn't sure if there was an off-screen scene where he goes to the pantry and actually makes this soup.
Maybe.
He's actually run lengths of the castle about twice just to be able to make
Just to
dinner.
be able to make soup. Yeah.
That does feel like something that 12 would do.
I think it would be. Yeah.
He talks also about hell just being heaven for bad people.
Which I love.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he goes back into the room where he initially first appears, and we get the finding of the word bird,
Yeah.
scratched into the sand, and also the skull
Discovery of a skull.
with little wire buoys attached to
Yeah.
it.
And he decides to carry Skull with him.
He does, which is fair. You know, this is his only companion.
Yeah,
It's like, what,
it's like Wilson.
is that the?
Like the ball from Castaway.
Yeah, I was about to say. I haven't actually seen Castaway,
Oh, it's
but I
good.
know. I've weirdly seen a lot of things that parody or reference Castaway. I've just never seen it, like Last Man on Earth and things
Yeah.
like that.
It's good.
What a series! Have you seen Last Man on Earth?
I've seen clippets of it. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
I
yeah.
finished it. It's not a good end to the series, but
Oh, is it not?
no, but
That's a shame.
the overall, at least first season, is fantastic. And yeah, just seeing what a man would do if he was
It was the last one.
last one, or at least as far as he believes.
knew, yeah.
And he takes old Scully Boy up to the battlements and looks at the stars. And
Yeah, is this the first time he's managed to get up there, I think?
yeah. I get a proper look-see at what's going on.
Yeah.
And he asks who moved the stars. And at this point, we get Old Shuffly coming up behind him.
Yeah. And he's not phased at this point.
No,
Right.
because he uses the hybrid as a way to stop
Yeah.
the Old Shuffly. And he talks about the hybrid being
The fact that it was theorized that it was a Time Lord Dalek. Cross.
and he says that he confesses that he knows what the hybrid is and where to find it.
Yep.
And I think it just ends with "I confess,"
Yes, I think it does.
and that's when the castle starts to shift around again. I think I have missed a beat where he initially goes down and finds the room and then can't, or opens it and it's another.
stone
thingy.
No, I think he's found the room.
He's found the room.
found the door. Sorry.
Yeah.
And yeah, can't
He
get
thinks
in.
someone's behind it because he kind of calls out and if there's anyone behind it.
Yeah.
But I think it is like another misdirect, and he can't get through at that point. It isn't until the castle rotates.
Yeah, and now the castle starts to move. Scully Boy falls down.
Yes, and joins
the rest of
the
Scully
rest
Boys.
of Skulls.
Yeah, because doesn't he say to the Vale at this point, there's like millions of skulls down there.
Yeah.
I can't be the first person. What have you done with the rest of them?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Because it's weird to sit like an ocean of skulls is bad enough.
Yeah.
But an ocean of just skulls.
Yeah.
Like there's no
spines, feet, anything.
No. Yeah, so he opens door number 12 and we get to
Shuts
see...
himself in it,
Yeah,
doesn't he? Doesn't he? Yeah.
I think so.
Shuts himself in it.
And we get the slow walk towards the diamond wall.
The big old diamond wall, and there's that beautiful organ music, isn't it, at this point, I think? Yeah.
We get that kind of translucent text just above the wall saying home.
Home. And the
But
Doctor's theorising that the TARDIS is behind it.
yeah, the last piece in the puzzle.
Yep.
Right, so
What
we get a
happens now?
beautiful pull focus on the Doctor as well.
This is when he realises, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, because his face is just this beautiful mixture of like anger and sad, and you just
Yeah.
and that's when he bursts through the TARDIS and he's like, then, always exactly then, and like he's throwing the screens around, he's having a proper little tantrum.
Yeah, Clara, I just can't do this. Why can't I just lose?
Why can't I just lose? And she's like, how are you going to win?
Yeah,
Just
and big
writing
old
it again
no
and
on
again,
the-
win. No,
Yeah.
can't I just lose? I am tired. I am done. And then he does that awful bit where he's like, I can't remember what he says in the lead up to it. But
He
it's
says
like,
something like, even after all of this, you still won't be.
you still won't be
gone. You
here,
still
and
won't
he
be
just
here."
sits down.
Yeah, the defeatist way that he falls, and he looks like he's about to burst.
He looks like he's about to bawl, and then
Yeah.
realizes he doesn't even have the energy to do that.
No.
And just sits there, like holding his little nose, and just
Now,
oh my god, I can't.
I've got the
Sorry.
direct quote of that later bit that he says when he says, "Whatever I do, you still won't be there."
Oh, like, can I just lose?
So, this might be my only gripe.
Don't you dare
Little gripe.
say it and die. All right, I'm ready. I'm an adult. I'm ready.
Little gripe.
Yep.
Because for up until now, this has been the best, at least as far as I can say from my own personal view, companion light episode.
Wonderfully so. Yeah.
Yeah. And this isn't just coming from a I don't like Clara Oswald as a character kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the episode did benefit and it would have done even more in its entirety had we never seen Clara outright. Had it just been her voice.
Voice wise would have been perfect. Yes.
But
no, I do agree.
like almost like a Luke and Obi-Wan situation, but
yeah.
I just didn't need to see her in that moment.
I don't know, but I did love the fact that she grabs his face.
Yeah, but I also didn't like the get off
Get
your
off your
ass.
ass. That that one word ruined it for me.
Yeah, and I don't know whether this is the Doctor Is this meant to be how a depiction of Clara as she was, or how the Doctor weirdly remembers her?
I don't know.
Because if it's the second, then that slightly makes it better, because then it just shows once again their toxic personalities and how in toxic relationships you misremember certain things and whatnot. But that's way too deeper of a cut for what it is.
I genuinely don't know. I think it was just a bad bit of writing. I think that was a mistake.
It doesn't feel warm using that word in that situation.
But then is she supposed to be at this point? Or is she being brutal because he's just had a meltdown and he's going to die if he doesn't?
Yeah, but I just even the Clara that we got towards the end, I feel like wouldn't be that brutal with him. Yes, if he was doing something, inherently bad
or violent,
or just
aggressive,
very Time Lord victorious, but he's not. He's having a breakdown, quite rightly
because
so.
of her death.
Yeah, and it's not like, and
I
also
think it was just a misstep.
and also, right, writers, Moffat.
Yeah, Moffat.
You wonderful bastard. Look, I don't think anyone can really put like a time on grieving.
Mm-mm.
He lost her like 12 minutes ago to at least this Doctor's memory.
Yeah.
So
he literally lost her. Yeah. So recently.
And to be like, everyone loses someone is
not
just
special.
such a dismissive way of dealing with it. Like, would anyone go up to someone who's grieving and be like, pull yourself
Pack it
together?
in.
Everyone loses people.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as
I think you
as
need
that.
to be reminded that possibly if you are grieving and being a little bitch for like years.
Yeah.
Then I think maybe you do need to be a little bit like slapped out.
Or
of it
going out
because-
and hurting people
Yeah,
as a
exactly.
result
If you're
of your
hurting
pain.
somebody or hurting yourself,
Yeah.
there is sometimes I think a point where you need to be a little
Tough
bit
love.
like
Yeah. But not where this
Not
is
where it's
very
been like-
inoffensive breakdown.
Yeah, he's not hurt anybody.
No.
He's thrown a couple of screens around.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh my god.
He's not punching the TARDIS anymore.
No, he hasn't had that. Yeah, I feel that, like you say, if it was just her voice and they removed that one word,
Yeah.
I would have loved it to death. There would be no notes.
No, it is.
That yeah.
And annoyingly, that is the only bit in the episode that's always stood out to me as a weird sidestep.
it sounds so jarring.
Yeah.
Even if you're just like absent-mindedly watching it in the background, and that word pop, yeah, it's just not right.
I'll be very interested because they are still catching up with us. Still got legs. The other Doctor Who rewatch podcast. I'll be as Clara lovers. I'll be very interested to see what they think. About that particular scene, and if they have any notes on that point.
I do like it. I do enjoy the fact that she talked to him, but I think it needed to have just been him remembering her voice and not seeing her. We've seen enough of her in the back.
Yeah, but don't we then cut back to?
Harsh cut back to him on the floor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Doesn't he have his back up against the crystal wall?
Yeah.
And is he seeing the thing coming at him at this point? Old Shuffly?
I think so.
Yeah. And that's where he stands up and starts.
And he's like, right, okay, cool. I've got this. I know what to do. Yeah.
The sound design on when his fist hits that fucking wall is.
Oh my god.
Like, when someone scrapes on a chalkboard, it's like that.
It's an awful noise.
It's a very awful noise.
It's a
because
really
presumably he is
good
shattering bonage when he's doing that.
Destroyed his hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that it's not covered in blood.
Well, I suppose it's weird because, it's very well lit. So for the most part, in what we see in a little bit, it's probably more gruesome if you were under a white light than what we see because of the lighting that's used. But with that, you would expect to, because they've done that, you would expect to see, I don't know, maybe it would have been a bit too much. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Don't know. But
maybe Time Lord's skin doesn't break as easily.
maybe the BBC only get like a certain
amount of bloodage.
Certain amount of bloodage. And it's like, guys, we can't. We've already hit the map.
done the bad.
wall.
Yeah.
Exactly that. We've hit the wall. And we get the the little story and
how much we don't get much of it this first time.
No, there was a emperor and
a shepherd's boy,
and he asks how many seconds there are
in eternity.
In eternity,
is that it? I think
that is it.
all
yeah,
we get for that first one, isn't it?
No, I think it might just be the shepherd's boy tale. At that point,
is it? Is that all we get?
I think that might be it.
Jesus.
And then big old scaly hands come round and.
Does he say, yeah, I haven't got any more confessions for you, but I do have a story?
Yeah.
A story about the shepherd's boy. The shepherd's boy says. And you get these awful hands, and they're like, some of the fingers are like fused together where they've been deaded.
Yeah.
And just like, grabs his face, and he does that awful like intake of breath.
And you got steam coming off of it as well.
Steam coming out of his face, yeah.
Oh, God. And
then
I think we're cutting back to the TARDIS because then again we get another power up, don't we? Where he's collapsed and the power up comes back on, and we get a bit more Capaldi.
Yeah,
talking. He's got a screen that shows what we're seeing in the episode of him.
Yeah,
but he's talking about how often people misjudge how long it takes a Time Lord to die.
It can take days to die. Properly.
That's why they always want to die with their own. So I mean, bleak as hell. They don't get buried early. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Fucking devastating.
And he reckons by his calculations that he's got a day and a half worth of life left. And just the physical acting. This episode in its entirety takes its time.
Yeah. And then this takes its fucking time.
Where it's just him crawling along the floor. You've got shots behind him of just these blood trails.
He's crawling up those stairs. And the way he's got his feet positioned just looks broken.
Yeah.
It's awful. He's all singed, his coat's wrecked, and he's going from like literally crawling along the floor to standing up just about and like clinging from windowsill to windowsill.
Yeah.
It's rough. It's fucking rough.
The way that, in the TARDIS, the way that Capaldi hits the floor.
Oh, he goes down onto his knees first, doesn't he? Holding onto the console.
Yeah, and then he goes almost backwards.
Completely backwards. And he's just about lifting his head up, and he's got that kind of almost like twitching reverb of where he's trying to stay up.
Yeah.
And he's got that awful breathing, and he sounds a little bit like Alan Rickman at one point where he's talking here.
Is that where his voice goes deep?
Yeah, where it goes all like proper deep and croaky and stuff.
Yeah.
It just, he's got a certain
Exactly
Alan
the
Rickman.
way I was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Literally, it's a certain Alan Rickman-esque sound to it, but it's from that horrible straining of like just trying to stay up and staying alive. Like, 'cause you do it when you're doing like a fucking ab crunch or whatever. If you're talking when you're doing an ab crunch, your voice is straining and stuff, and it's just the way he's trying to stay up and stay alive. Horrible. It's fucking horrible, but so good.
We have a Twitter account. This is where you can go and see all of our episodes. They're all there. But also, we need your help because doesn't die here, but he
Eventually
eventually it happens, and it's big sad. But we need you guys to decide where we're going to go once this series comes to its conclusion. And there are 5 choices, so let your voices be known. But we also have something else. So over the last week or so, I've been trying to bring in more podcast traffic, and it's starting to work. On our Facebook page, which is called Dirty Old TARDIS. So it's not just podcast stuff. There's other Doctor Who stuff there as well. And I've started to do little Doctor Who articles or questions and things like that to bring in some thoughts. The first one I did was, what would people think about a redesign of the Daleks? There was a lot of opinions on that. It's already hit over 4,000 views, and it was an insane amount of traffic coming in for that. So go and have a look at that if you haven't already and give your thoughts on that. Then I did another one on a return of the Slitheen and what that might look like and how to get that right, because I don't know about you, but the farty Slitheen, although it was great to see them in the Sarah Jane Adventures, when it got more kind of kid orientated, it got silly to the point where they were no longer scary.
They're not scary at this point.
And then why we haven't seen the Reapers again from Father's Day.
Which we should have fucking done.
Yeah, I mean, I know they lose because, I mean, even within that episode, they're not the main antagonist. The main antagonist in that episode, obviously, being the choice that Rose has to make.
Rose.
Yeah. Come on, man.
I love her, but fuck's sake.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
He said don't touch the fucking baby.
Get in the church, Rose! But, yeah, so I'm doing little articles like that. I've got another one planned. It's just a way to bring in more traffic, more Doctor Who interest, especially because towards the end of the next few weeks, we may be without a regular... Apart from this podcast.
Hey!
We ain't fucking going anywhere. We'll be around.
Yeah, we will.
But yeah, so have your thoughts known on Twitter and go over to our Facebook page. There's some articles on there. Right, so back to the episode. Yeah, so... Oh, yeah, I was going to do another side point. So, sorry, before we even go back to the episode, when you mentioned Alan Rickman, I'm in a D&D game session at the moment, and I'm playing a Tabaxi bard. For those who don't know, Tabaxi, human cat, imagine Khajiit from Skyrim.
Yeah.
And he has the voice of Alan Rickman.
Oh, my God, amazing. Care to give us a spin?
Huh?
Care to give us a spin?
I'm trying to think of... Welcome to my bar. I'm just a little kitty.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, so that was that connection.
Beautiful.
I'm struggling to find where we were in the fucking episode. Capaldi's down.
Capaldi's down.
Yeah. And he's eventually makes his way back to the room, and he deduces that the teleporter will have, because it's stored memories of rooms, it will have stored a version of him.
Yeah, because he's decided that teleports are a 3D printer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a copy of him.
But all it needs is a little bit of energy.
And all we need for energy is something to burn.
Fuck me. The look on his face and the acting and the sounds when
he's plugged himself in, hasn't he? And he does this awful like intake of breath before he's about to do it. Yeah. Oh, Man.
And just the scream and like well,
It's
not
not
scream, but the
even
sound.
like a
And
scream, is it? It's
it's like,
like
oh,
all of his breath just being shunted out of his body.
yeah, that feels like a life ending kind of.
Yeah.
And on that point, there is something that we have to address, because I know all of this happens inside a little wee disky boy, but is this technically a death?
Oh, there's so many theories on that, isn't there?
Because there is a physical skull.
There's a physical skull, yeah.
So, and I know that they're copies and they all retain the memories and the physiology and biology or whatever.
Yeah, and I suppose like when he's being reprinted, he's being reprinted as he was like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So same age, same what's it.
Yeah. But, that's...
But essentially he remembers everything that happens. Because he's remembered now that it's happened. That's when he remembers always exactly then.
No, he doesn't. Well, wait.
He said that when he first finds the thing.
Wait, what?
Yeah. When
What-
he first meets the brick wall, the
Yeah.
diamond wall, sorry.
Yeah.
That's when he goes bursting into the TARDIS and goes, then that's when I remember all
Oh,
this
sorry.
exactly then."
I thought you meant like this is when this new
No,
doctor comes in
no.
and he realizes.
No,
Okay,
no,
no,
sorry.
Yeah.
So it is established that he remembers it eventually.
But is it a remembering or
like-
is it more realization?
He says, "Remember, that's when I remember." Always,
Okay.
always then, always exactly then.
Okay.
I don't know. There's loads of theories about it. Loads. You get lost if you keep. finding
No,
it.
that is fair. And we get the loop to the beautiful shepherd's boy.
Well, because he's written the word bird again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the point. Yeah, he
Yeah,
writes the
'cause-
word bird just before he slams his hand down and
Yeah,
it
because
disappears.
he's already zapped himself, so he's already second deaded, really.
Yeah.
Written bird. Gone.
Yeah.
And then we see the sizzle. We see him appear back in the teleport. Misses the skull and the bird completely and says the same thing. And then we have a wonderful montage.
This piece of music was up because I think it was
so
such a
good.
long time until after the episode was released that this piece of music was actually released.
It took ages
Anywhere.
for this soundtrack to come out.
And it was the same with the piece of music that's used in the Family of Blood arc.
Yeah.
When the Doctor's gets that vision of the life that could have, or John Smith gets the vision of the life that could have been. That's used again in the is it Journey's End
Yes.
when
Yeah.
Davros is like,
When Davros is-
think of all the lives you've fucking ended. Yeah, those two pieces of music are
Beautiful.
just staples in my young childhood of
Beautiful piece.
beautiful
of music.
atmospheric piece of music. There's a artist I'll send you at some point. I don't know if you've happened across them. I think he's Dutch. He often collabs with a operatic singer and have done beautiful rescores of pieces of music from Doctor Who. Shepherd's
Nice.
Boy being one of them, on electric guitar as well.
Oh.
Adds a new level of just
Beautiful.
with a beautiful
Beautiful.
operatic singer in the background. It's,
Oh my god.
but one of the most beautiful, or two most beautiful ones they've ever done, I think it was during lockdown, was Rings of Aquitaine.
I love that song.
And the
The tracks, yeah, beautiful.
I can't remember the name of the song because I can't pronounce it properly, but the one just before Tennant regenerates. Valley. But you know what I'm talking
I
about.
know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And they got a load of fans to sing certain parts, and there's just
Oh
a
my
bit
God.
where they like fade into the background. There's little circles like the TARDIS of all these fans just singing along
That's so cute.
as they're singing. Oh man, goosebumps!
Oh my
It's
god, I love it.
so fucking good. And
We missed a bit.
we missed a
A
bit.
slight bit.
Yeah?
Yeah, when
Go,
he's
go,
up
go.
on the turret and he
Yeah.
looks at the stars.
Oh yeah, and he says that he's
And he
been
says,
there,
"I've been there
7,000.
700 years or something. It starts off as a relatively small number.
Yeah, but as we're seeing the montage,
As
that
we're seeing
number
the
gets
montage, it's getting bigger and fucking bigger.
insanely
And fucking
10 billion years.
bigger. 4 billion years.
Yeah, 4 billion. Oh yeah, because
4 billion
we find out
years
later
is the top
4
number. He
billion.
says, "Yeah, I've travelled 4 billion years into the future."
Um,
It's such a brilliant montage as well because montages can be very tricky, I think, and they did it spot on because you had full on repeats, and then sped up repeats, and then different chunks, and then like blah
Yeah.
blah blah. I just thought it was so clever. I thought it was so well done, and just getting the snapshots getting faster and faster as the music builds and builds and builds, and he's getting further and further into the Diamond Wolf.
We're getting a little bit more of those
the story.
of the story, yeah.
Yeah, because the whole time we're having the story, it's littered with interjections of what he said earlier, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just so well done. Well done.
Well done, Murray Gold.
Well done, Murray Gold.
Done it again.
Well done, Moffat. All of it, beautiful. Mwah. Rachel Talalay, beautiful.
Chef's kiss.
Wonderful director.
And as the music reaches its conclusion, we get dun, 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 dun,
Oh.
as the wall cracks away.
Yeah, and he's like, rah!
And I love that kind of almost look of
Have I done it? Have I done it?
that, and also just exhaustion, and
Yeah.
so it's one of those facial expressions. And the best comparison I've got is Luke at the end of The Force Awakens.
Yep.
When he does that long look at Rey, and there's so many emotions in there.
So
It's
much going on
very
right
similar
now.
to that. And Old Shuffly turns
Boy.
into Cogsworth.
Cogs and
and
wheels. Yeah.
falls the fuck apart.
Completely.
Into wee cogs, much like the castle.
Yeah. Doctor steps out of like a weird slit.
Space
Yeah.
Fisher thing.
Yeah.
And we're in a very orangey, deserty
Tiny boy
landscape.
style falls to the floor, doesn't it? And you
Yeah.
see
Miniature of the castle.
miniature of the castle in the ocean.
And then
it-
some
it
cogs
seals
go over
itself
and...
up. The Doctor picks it up and looks at it like, oh, fuck. Yeah.
But then there's another old fuck moment because he's like looking around and then looks at something.
Yeah, because he doesn't talk to the dial yet, does he?
No, I think that's after we've seen the
we
old
find
fuck.
a little boy,
We find a little boy and he says,
and he goes,
go to the
city,
city.
tell them I'm back,
Yeah.
and something else. Like he tells him to say something else. I can't remember. But
No.
the long and short of it is, go to city, tell them I'm back,
And
they
yeah, the
better
little...
be prepared or some shit. And so he runs away, and then the
Camera
Doctor stands
pans.
up, and I'm sure he speaks to the dial first.
Oh, okay.
I'm
I'm
pretty
sure you can still hear me.
Yeah, if you can still hear me. Oh no, I think you are right. I think we do. We watch the little boy run off, and it does reveal
The Citadel of
Citadel of
Gallifrey. We're back.
beautiful orangeness. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. I never thought I'd be so fucking angry to see Gallifrey. I was like, you fucking what? I was fuming. I was absolutely fuming, and then I was like, oh, it's Gallifrey.
And it's not like a triumphant, happy reveal, is it?
Oh, it's angry.
There's some angry music.
There
playing
is
in
some
the background
angry fucking music going on because I think we've realised at the similar time as him that they've done this to him.
there. Yeah.
They have put him through 4 billion years of that crap. And then, he does talk to the dial, doesn't he? And he
Yeah.
says, I think you can still hear me. I know what oh, fuck, what did he say? The hybrid destined to stand in the ruins of Gallifrey. And then he puts his fucking specs on, Alex, and it's great. And he goes, it's me, with his glasses on, and it's wonderful.
Now, I'm glad that you brought that up.
What, the Sunnies are back?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is actually me being
Are you actually being serious right now?
sincere, because I have a rebuttal,
Oh!
which may be the biggest rebuttal of this series.
Don't you fucking dare.
No, you'll like this.
Okay.
And it's also in the form of an apology,
Oh.
because I, like I've alluded to in previous episodes, have started just watching ahead because I have no restraint whatsoever, and got to the point of a certain episode, which I believe is your favourite, and the use of the sonic specs in that
Oh, great.
are great.
Fucking brilliant, aren't they?
And now, having seen that, I do take back everything I've said.
Yay!
Sonic Specs.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a win! They're brilliant.
Yeah.
They are fabulous.
Fair.
And they are fucking back. With the coolest closing shot ever.
Yeah, just with him saying the
Just him going,
hybrid
me.
is me.
Oh, beautiful.
Fantastic.
So angry. So angry.
And that is where the episode ends. But not this episode, because we have a thing that we have to do. Pete, are you ready to dress in torn up clothing and parade with sticks,
And
banging
bells.
through the city centre? Because it is time for our favourite segment. It is, of course, Daft Cunt of the Week.
they think they're doing?
Your ham-fisted bun vendor.
He's an unimaginative plodder.
Apart from losing the master and the missile, you're doing very well, Brigadier.
I helped you devise a less idiotic plan of attack. All the idiotic suggestions.
You're an idiot.
You will bring a terrible retribution upon yourselves if you persist.
Shut up, you silly old fool.
You would dare to harm the great wizard Queequeg-Quag?
Charming. Yeah, they're round the twist, if you ask me.
Pete.
Oh, I don't know.
See, this is the thing.
This is...
Because obviously with a very everyone liked episode,
Yeah.
other than the Doctor himself,
I don't know.
there's very little. I mean, I know there's one that we mentioned in terms of like a slight
Stupid
bad
word.
point of the episode, if you could even call it that. It's so insignificant,
It's,
but also
yeah.
so jarring.
The word arse is my daft cunt of the week, I think.
Yeah. Okay. You've taken mine, so I'm gonna have to find another. And it is, of course, the people who live next door to where I work. If you have a tree and and it is causing your garden to
don't think this
buckle,
counts.
I'm angry about it, Pete, and I want to say it on the podcast.
Do it.
And it happened during the week. It doesn't count, but I'm still going to say it, that if you have a tree, take a moment to remember how important trees are. Don't commission them to get cut down all the way, because that's mental. Like,
Yep.
And if you're going to sit under a tree, you may get hit by something. It's the same as going into the sea. You put your life in your hands. Don't.
People be stupid.
Yeah. Yes, it was a cop-out.
Only because it's such a perfect episode.
It really, really is.
It's got to be one of the highest rated episodes, surely.
Yeah, I think like when you're looking at things like Who Culture and things like that, it's always rated as being one of the.
Yeah, it's always in like the top 20
highest.
episodes that you should watch.
I think at some point, I mean, it's going to be a huge commitment in terms of a project, but I am going to do my top 10 Doctor Who episodes, at least in the from 2000
The New Who
New
vibes,
Who
yeah.
onwards. But I don't think Blink's going to be particularly high. It may make it into the top 10.
I may be about to be murdered. I never got the big deal about Blink.
Yeah?
I thought it was good, but I didn't think that the angels were the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, okay.
I was like, okay.
It was one of the few episodes that I don't know where my mum was getting this prior knowledge from.
Yeah.
Either she lied to us this entire time and made us watch the episode a week late, or I don't know what, but she always had this prior knowledge of what was coming up next. So there were episodes we just weren't allowed to watch.
Really?
Yeah. And that was one of them. And the other one was the Tooth and Claw.
Really?
Yeah. But we were allowed to watch the Idiot's Lantern with the lady with the no face.
And the empty fucking child?
Yeah.
That's way worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked Blink. I thought it was good. They did ruin the angels for me, though, in the...
Oh, what, in later stuff?
Yeah, in the Byzantium one. What was that one called?
Oh, did you not like them in Byzantium?
Why are we seeing them move?
Yeah, but at least...
That was the only thing that upset me. The rest of the episode, I loved. But the fact that we saw them move, and not even just a little bit.
Yeah, they were full head
Full-on
tilts
head
and-
turnings and moving their arms and shit.
Yeah.
Nah, they ruined that.
I mean, it wasn't quite as egregious as Statue of Liberty Angel. but
Yeah, no, that was awful.
yeah, okay. I mean, I suppose it's like some people have said on the Facebook page that sometimes these monsters benefit from a one beat
Yeah.
appearance.
Yeah.
But even then, like Class,
True. Very true.
and there are some beats in Jodie's era where they're fucking sinister. Where they're just there as like a
Yeah.
side point coming out of the ground, or
Yeah.
in Matt's era where they're just in the snow.
Oh, yeah, that.
And the
yeah,
hands
I
come
don't
out.
think that they're a bad monster
No, no.
at all. I think that episode ruined some of the lore for me. I was just
Okay.
like, no.
No, fair.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, even the first initial appearance of the angels is weird, because why did the angels throw something at Sally?
Who knows?
Was that angel just a bit of a joke where the rest of them like,
eat, and they're
what
like,
the fuck are you doing?
yeah. Quick, quantum lock.
Who brought
Fuck.
Josh the angel? Get him out of it. But yes, thank you so much for watching. Watching. Well, you might be on YouTube just
You might be
looking
on
at our
YouTube
pretty
watching-
little picture. But
Yeah,
thank you so much for listening to Never Ever Eat Pears. If you have any thoughts, do leave them in the comment section on your podcast streaming platform of choice, or you can leave them in the YouTube section. But until the next time, until next, a very sad time,
Oh, dear.
Pete and I are blasting off into time.
and space.
Moisturize me, moisturize me.